What's up guys, TechTime here and I am back again with a brand new video. So before I begin this video, I just want to take a second and thank you all so much for the incredible support lately. You guys have been really amazing and I really do appreciate anybody that subscribed to the channel. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. It's free. The subscribe button is right below. So with that being said, today we're going to be taking a look at, and I will be giving you guys my first impressions at the all new Motorola Moto Edge Plus 2023 model. Now the name is just a lot to deal with to begin with, but it is what it is. So as far as the design goes, this phone has kind of a OnePlus type of vibe. And it does have Motorola characteristics, but the back has this kind of sandstone feel to it. But it is slippery at the end of the day, so a case is highly recommended on it. And we're going to talk about these Motorola characteristics in a little bit. But first, since we're talking about the back, let's also discuss the camera setup. So the 2023 Edge Plus provides us with a triple camera setup, and basically the main sensor has a 50 megapixel at f1.8 aperture and also supports optical image stabilization. In addition to that, you also have a 50 megapixel ultra wide angle at 114-degree field of view, and in addition to all of that, you also have a 12 megapixel 2x telephoto that also supports the portrait mode, and it is at f1.6 aperture. And honestly, as far as the specs go, they seem really solid on paper, but I cannot really wait till I get an actual unit in-house so I can really test out the camera myself and tell you guys how that game goes. So if you want to stay tuned for that, make sure you're subscribed. And as far as the Motorola characteristics that I've talked about earlier, so basically this phone, since it's called the Edge, it has curves pretty much everywhere. So first, you'll notice it at the camera lens cover, very unique look, and even the back housing is curved, hence the name the Moto Edge 2023. But basically that's not even the full story. So the full story comes down to this. So the sides are made out of metal, and because both the back housing and the display are curved, it makes for really thin tiny buttons. So the power button and the volume up and down are located on the right hand side, and as far as my research shows, the buttons are fairly tactile, but they're really small. You do have the double tap to wake and double tap to sleep. As far as your I/O goes, on the bottom you do have your first speaker as well as USB-C, and that USB-C supports up to 65 watt of super fast charger included in the box, so thumbs up Motorola for that. You also have a microphone on the bottom as well as your SIM tray. However, this phone does not support a micro SD slot, but it comes standard with 512 gigabytes of storage. More on that later. So the top also has another speaker, and this phone does support a dual speaker setup, which provides for high quality audio. So as far as the display goes, it is a curved display, so it's based on a 6.7 inch and it is POLED display. So a very high quality display as far as I'm concerned, and it also supports a refresh rate to up to 165 Hertz. So for a phone that costs $799, this is, to me, one of a kind. So 165 Hertz refresh rate is crazy incredible. And as far as I'm concerned, this just hits every check mark that you would expect on a display. As far as peak brightness goes, because of it also supports HDR10 plus and it is certified, so the peak brightness on this phone is crazy 1300 nits. So yeah, take that with a grain of salt. This is, as far as I'm concerned, a great display. But there are downsides. To me personally, I think that the curves on the display just, I don't know, they're not in fashion anymore, Motorola. I don't know why they insisted on keeping the the curved display. Curve the back, curve the camera glass, but curved display, they're questionable right now. But as far as I'm concerned, that's just what they decided to do. That's the whole marketing campaign behind this phone. So as far as the top also goes, this phone does also support a 60 megapixel front-facing camera. But yeah, the curvature around the display seems to me it's just gonna throw off the whole display. As far as visibility and viewing the whole of your content. So yeah, it may be a problem for some people. Some people may enjoy it. It is a cool look, don't get me wrong, it's just not ideal in my opinion. Alright, so let's switch the topic of conversation and actually talk about specifications, and you do get nice ones. So you do get flagship specs with this phone. The first being you do get the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor. This phone also has the top of the line graphics chip. In addition to all of that, you do have 8 gigabytes of RAM standard, 5100 milliamp hour battery, as well as the super fast charging that we talked about. So as far as the specs go, this phone nails it beautifully, and it is in par with flagship specs. So thumbs up for Motorola for doing that. Again, as far as pricing goes, this is priced at $799. Now, as far as benchmark scores, when I get this phone in house, I will do more testing and just push this phone as much as I can. But everything on paper seems to be adding up and seems to be making a solid phone. My only thing is, and this is not against anybody else other than Motorola, but Motorola needs to realize that it's competing with the bigger dogs, the more popular dogs, shall I say. So this phone hits every checkpoint on paper as far as the specs, the camera display, even the design, in my opinion. Other than the curves around the display, which are, some may like it, some may not like it. It is what it is for that. But I feel like this phone is going to go under the radar, which is unfortunate. But if you guys want to see a full actual review with a actual in-unit in-house, let me know. This is just my first impressions and my thoughts on this device. So with that being said, make sure you leave a thumbs up, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will definitely catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.